Running a small business is tough. Your accounting shouldn't be. At White Olive CPA, we make the numbers make sense. No jargon, no confusion, just simple, clear advice. From taxes to bookkeeping, we've got your back, so you can focus on growing your business. White Olive CPA. Simple, clear accounting.
Hey everybody, Michael Wheels Parise here. It's How Not to Bomb. It's our first episode. I want to welcome anybody who's going to be on tonight watching. I have a special guest tonight. Well, not a special guest, but a guest who's going to be not only special, but a recurring guest. And I'm going to tell you a lot about him in just a minute. But this is our first episode. I want to welcome everybody if you're out there. And hopefully you're watching us on YouTube. If you know, right now is streaming on YouTube and Facebook at Wheels Live. On Facebook, you can watch it, and also on YouTube is YouTube/ at Wheels P, and that's how that goes. But anyway, I just wanted to welcome everybody to the show, and I'm going to bring on a very good friend of mine. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada. Not originally, and we'll get into that. He was the executive producer on I Do Things, my first podcast. He was also the executive producer on Rolling with Dice and Wheels, which was our hit podcast that he was the executive producer on. We actually hit #1 on the charts of Apple. We were beating Joe Rogan there for quite a while. and we became #1 podcast. Actually, you can see it in back of me. This right here, that is the Rolling with Dice and Wheels podcast logo, and that is the I Do Things podcast logo. I do things. I do things. Anyway, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Lizzio. Tony Lizzio to the show. Hey, Tony, there he is.
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
Hey, how you been, Wheels?
What's going on, man? I love that we're talking like we haven't talked every day to try to get this thing going. But they don't know about it. Now they do. So how you doing, man? How's it going out with the area? How's it going? I like the Martian you got there. Who's the Martian? That's Marty, right? Al. Al. Yeah, Al the alien. What's the difference between an alien and the Martian?
Martians come from the planet Mars. Aliens can come from any planet in the universe.
Oh, including
are aliens.
Okay.
Martians come particularly from the planet Mars.
And aliens can come from anywhere in the universe, including any country. I mean, not that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying if they're in this country, if I'm in Italy, I'm an alien. Yeah, I mean, I'm an alien. I'm an alien. If I go to Canada right now, I am considered an alien.
I lived as I don't know if we should broadcast this, but I lived as an alien in Canada for a little bit of time in the late 90s.
That'd be a great shirt. I lived as an alien in Canada.
maybe that'll be our first merch seller.
I lived as an alien in Canada. So how's it going, Tony? How you been? I want to introduce you to the people. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life, because you're just a busy dude.
Very busy. Like, as you mentioned before, we met in Vegas doing entertainment. What the hell? It was probably 16 years ago, something like that, 16 years ago. You were performing, I was running shows, etc. I was working with Louis Anderson at the time. I believe Louis is the one who introduced us, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know exactly how we met, but I know it was the Louis connection.
Correct.
Louis Anderson, because he had a podcast, and you were the producer on his show.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Which will hopefully be coming back real soon. We're in talks to re-upload all that stuff. We did about 40-something episodes, and really good, powerful stuff. But
I remember I was on one of them. We actually went to the hotel in downtown Vegas, and we did it right there at the booth.
Yep, that's where we did most of our shows. He would just invite his guests over. We would set up shop in the booth before or after the show, and talk to whomever was on the show that day.
Louis was such a great guy. I mean, I feel that him and I were getting closer. I was going to his house in Henderson quite a bit, hanging out with him, and I know you were dear friends with him. And do you keep in contact with any of the old cronies, the Louis cronies from back then?
Yeah, I mean, not as much as I should. Admittedly, we get busy. We have lives. We have children. We have jobs and all of the above. But yes, short answer is yes, I do. Lou Miguelowitz, if you remember Lou.
Yeah, Lou. Yeah.
Shout out to Lou.
Lou Miguelowitz, that's right.
He was Louis' opener for a couple of years. So we talk from time to time, catch up. How you doing? What's going on? He's still doing comedy.
Yeah, but I think he went more legit now into something with Caesars, was it, or MGM?
He's not doing that anymore.
He's not.
I think he's back into. I think he decided he missed comedy way too much, and I think he's back. But maybe we'll have Lou as a guest sometime. I don't know.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I have a special guest coming on tonight, who's a big YouTuber actually in the food world. He's got a big show on YouTube, and his name is Jerry. He goes by the name Derry X. He's going to come on in a little while. I got to send him the invite so he can come into the show. He was a big fan of Rolling with Dice and Wheels and a big fan of I Do Things. So I Do Things was an interesting show. We did a lot of different. Mostly, I would say, yeah, it was a fantastic show, very interview based. We were interviewing almost every comedian there was that was coming through Vegas. Mm-hmm. We got some classics. I think Carl LeBeau is probably one of our top classics. Carl LeBeau, may rest in peace. Carl's not around anymore.
Carl. And that episode to me was one of the just pure gold. I mean, the story that he told us about Sam Kinison. He was Sam Kinison's opener, as you know, but the world may not.
Sure.
And how he held Sam Kinison in his arms when he passed. Like, it was just, my God.
Yeah, he was right there holding him in his arms as Malika was Malika too was hanging on by a thread, you know.
So that And we'll, I'll find that in the archives, and maybe we'll just re-release it as audio or something, because it was
Yeah, we can do that.
it was a powerful show.
We could re-release it and do like a split screen and maybe do like segments of of that particular interview, because I think it was quite a long interview.
Yeah, it was.
And we also had Gallagher on the show.
The long interviews. My God, what a night that was.
Gallagher was like part 3, 4, 5, and 6. He was
he was just calling me out of the blue. You're like, hey, jump in the car, meet me at the Tropicana. We're going to do an interview with Gallagher. We walk into Gallagher's room with all the equipment.
God.
And do you remember the scene? He had all of his business cards.
Yes.
That he had acquired over the several months that he
just laid out.
And they were laid out all over his bed and his desk.
In chronological order.
And he was organizing who he wanted to communicate with into different categories. What a genius
guy.
Crazy, smart, holy cow.
Real name was Leo Gallagher was his name. I remember going in the room and going in and wanting to use the restroom in his room, and I went in there and his clothes were in the tub. His like on stage performance, the white and black striped shirt and the black pants and the hat was laying in the tub. It almost looked like he melted into the tub because there was water around it and there was no soap. It was just his clothes in a puddle of water. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Man, what a night that was. What a night. And we got, he gave us hours.
It
was all material. It was poems he had written. It was songs that he had written. It was, and I mean, that probably only exists on that podcast. He probably never did.
Probably. And Gallagher is gone too. It's And his last thing, he was telling me he wanted to come out with a slot machine for the hotels. That was his big thing. He was trying to invent a new slot machine. Gallagher was great. Who else did we have on that show? We had
watermelons and you win.
Triple. When it goes like this, the hammer, you win 3 hammers in a row. You get to hit the jackpot. You have any clips from that show, by the way?
Of Gallagher? Or just the show in general?
Yeah, do you have any clips from I Do Things we could play for the people? Yeah, I want to hear something. This is from my first podcast, I Do Things, everybody. And it was a great show in Vegas. I remember we started in 2012, 13, I believe. And it was every Monday and Thursday. There's the sign for it right there. You see.
I love it, man. I love it.
What do you love about it? You came here from Maryland, correct?
Virginia at the time, but East Coast. I love it because I'm a 24-hour person.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. My whole life, even that's why I got into entertainment, because shows happen at night. I'm not a morning guy. So I love the fact that, yes, you can buy alcohol here 24 hours a day, but not just that. You can do things here 24 hours a day.
There's always something to do.
I like to go bowling. Right. And, you can go down to the local casino, go bowling 3 o'clock in the morning.
24 hours a day.
3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's in the bowling alley. You get in a great graveyard special, and you're not bothered by it.
I didn't know you were a bowler.
I am.
Are you a good bowler, or you just like to go bowling?
My dad is a good bowler.
Oh, okay.
And I tried
Lizzio.
it. Jimmy.
Glendale Custom Auto Body.
Correct.
In Maryland.
Yeah, and he's also, he bowled with the pros, and he carries,
did he really?
He carries like a 210 average. He's just ridiculous.
Has he ever done a perfect game? 300?
Yeah, quite a few.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's amazing.
What was your highest score ever?
I don't know that I broke 200.
Oh really? Yeah. I haven't either. I'm probably 170.
Yeah, which is good.
But it's true though. You can do anything in Vegas. Anything you're in the mood to do, you can do at any time of the day. It's a 24-hour town because people that work in the industry of the hotels and casinos, their afternoon might be 2 a.m.
Right.
I mean, you're a sound guy. You're in lights and sound and everything. You actually do sound, video, everything.
I do everything. I produce a show from the ground up.
You produce a show from the ground up, so you know what it's like in this industry.
Great. That was great to hear that. It's funny. It's like we're having the same conversation now, basically.
Really
that was.
It really is. It's part 2. This is 2.0. That when we were doing that, that was our first podcast.
I Do Things.
I remember figuring out what to do.
We didn't know what was going on. We were using analog mics. I mean, I was using analog mics. We didn't have any video back then. I mean, we took videos, little things here, and I think you had a couple of things. But it's interesting. So it's interesting hearing back about Vegas, because we know I left Vegas in 2018 and moved out to Florida. And I started noticing a change in Vegas then, but now they say Vegas is completely fucking crazy now. Like, it's not even there's no sign of the old Vegas there from what I hear.
And you spoke about my father. My father loved Vegas.
Yeah.
In the 70s,
right.
In the 80s. But he says, and it's it's kind of true. Like when the mob sold and the corporations took over, that's when Vegas really died.
Yeah.
Because it was not about taking care of the customers, taking care of the people. It was about making a buck.
Yeah.
That's
It was all about making the buck
corporate.
and nothing else.
Were you there when they started charging locals to park?
But yeah, I left right around that time.
Yeah.
And they were charging. It really just it's like any other hotel now. Basically, there's nothing, it's nothing special. Vegas was always the special place. It was always the place you could do something you wouldn't normally do in your own hometown. And now it's just
Well, almost every state
commercialized
has
shopping.
casinos. So if you want to gamble, you just go down the street to gamble. Vegas needs to figure out what is going to draw the people back. Before it was gambling, when now gambling is a dime a dozen. So, and they'll figure it out. One thing I do know is Vegas is resilient, right? They're going to.
Oh, yeah, it'll always be.
They're always going to figure it out. There's always going to be an attraction. There's always going to be a reason. I mean, look, I'm sure you've seen the Sphere. The Sphere is just
amazing.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
I watched them build it from the ground up.
Yeah, that was amazing.
You were there. You left before.
I left there right when the stadium was open. The new, not the stadium, but the arena.
T-Mobile.
It was T-Mobile. Yeah, but that I was there right then, and then I left shortly after it opened. But it was already open. That's what. So whenever that happened, and Bally's. The traffic was bottlenecked over there anyway.
But when T-Mobile opened, and then they opened Allegiant right on the same block.
How is Allegiance? Have you been there?
It's off the chain. It's amazing. They call it the Death Star, which is a Star Wars reference. I know you don't watch Star Wars, but
I don't watch it at all. At all.
I know. We won't talk about that.
No, not now. But I want to get into that. I don't understand why anybody does watch it, but I'll talk about that.
But anyway, they call it the Death Star. It's an amazing venue, and believe it or not, I haven't seen a football game there, but I took my son on his 9th birthday to see Metallica there. That was his first show at 9.
Wow.
I was like, well, how are you going to top that, Tony? Well, figure it out. But
and how many 9-year-olds were in that show watching Metallica?
Too many. It was mostly
not many 9-year-olds. If he ever says, I saw Metallica live, oh, really? How old were you? 9. Really? Wow. It's like,
yeah.
I did see some great shows, and you must have saw some amazing shows in Vegas. I saw Prince in Vegas. I got to see Prince, Rod Stewart. Yeah, that was a bad one. Prince was great, but we had these box seats that we had really good box seats, and there was just me and my wife and 2 other couples were in this little box room area, and somebody slipped my wife something in her drink. And she don't remember half the concert. I had to hold her and carry her out of there. I mean, that was crazy, And we went to Nobu. I'm like, let's go to Nobu, and trying to get something in. I didn't know if she maybe drank too much, but really she didn't even drink that much. And so it had to be one of those 2 people. I don't know who they were, but they were in the box seats with us. Yeah. Terrible.
That's one thing about Vegas is it's so predatory. It's so predatory on everybody,
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I left was, you and I are both fathers. I wanted no parts of any predators coming anywhere near my children.
No, terrible. Yeah, I would. Yeah. 100%. And I was living in Nashville, Tennessee, Franklin, right before I moved back to Florida. Because I was in Florida. I only lived in Franklin for a year, and Nashville's another one of these cities that's like a Vegas-y type place now. And again, it's becoming very predatory. And what's interesting is that the name of the team is the Nashville Predators. I think it's a terrible name.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
They should really change the name. Just nobody wants to be a part of it. I'm going to see the Predators tonight. I mean, it's.
Yeah, maybe they were going more towards the movie Predator or something.
I think that word does not fit in society anymore, especially with all the crazy shit that's going on. I think they should just get rid of the word completely and just use it for what it is. You're a predator and you're associated that way, and it's not a positive thing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But we saw Rod Stewart. I saw Rod Stewart in Vegas. That was fun. Boys to Men I saw. I mean, it was great. We had some great times in Vegas. And then and that was it. Moved to Florida, and you moved out of Vegas too. And did your thing.
I did. I'm in a suburb of Washington D.C., our nation's capital.
Yep. Yeah. How is that traffic in D.C.?
It's hell. I mean, it's absolute hell. It's one level under L.A. traffic.
Is it really?
It's that bad. Yeah. It's one level under LA, but my saving grace is the fact that I still do shows. I mean, I still do that for a living, and I don't go in. I'm not a normal 9 to 5er. I never have been, never will be. So I'm kind of flowing against the traffic when I'm going in. Most people are leaving.
Are
And then
leaving.
at night, when there's nobody on the road because I'm out of there late
Right.
night after the show, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
That is.
it's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not a terrible thing. I live out in the Tampa Bay area now. I was in Sarasota, and we moved out of Sarasota because it was just a little too close for comfort with the hurricane. So we sold our house, moved out to Nashville, Franklin actually, and now we're in the Tampa Bay area. I live in a suburb of Tampa, and I absolutely love it because you're close enough to the water when you want to be by the water. It's like 30 minutes, and then you're far enough away from the water during hurricane season where you're not going to get flooded out. Like my neighborhood in Venice, Florida, before I sold my house. We were one of 3 homes in the neighborhood that did not get flooded. I'm talking 9 feet of water. So everybody across the street from us, we lived on the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, what they call it now. And they said that my neighbors who've lived there for 50 years said, no, we never get hurricanes like bad here or whatever. Every one of them across the street from me had to condemn, the house had to be remodeled and redone. A lot of them sold and bailed, after 50 years.
That scares the hell out of me. I mean, but
Yeah.
You know what? Unfortunately, no matter where you go, you have to deal with natural disasters.
I think so. Well, not really. Vegas, not really, though, if you think about it.
I lived through 2 earthquakes in Vegas.
Yeah, but an earthquake in Vegas is not an earthquake in L.A.
But I was in an elevator when one happened.
Were you?
And
Okay,
the
so
elevator
probably.
shook back
Yeah,
and
yeah,
forth.
yeah.
That was scary. That
Yeah.
was very scary.
I was in the Northridge quake in L.A., the big one. And I was in bed. I was living on Doheny Drive at the time, right in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills border. They call it Beverly Hills adjacent. And I had a nice little single apartment there, and it was just it threw me out of bed.
Holy crap!
I mean, literally, and I was 360 pounds then. Threw me out of bed. It was almost like the Jolly Green Giant just got to bed and went like this and said, "Fuck you," and just threw you across the room. I literally went about 3 feet. My refrigerator banged into the. It was crazy, and I lived right around the corner from where the freeway dropped. It was a bad time. We all went outside. Everybody's running outside, screaming, and we all had to hang out outside because they say in an earthquake, go outside or do go outside if you can. So we did.
No, I guess that's tornadoes. Tornadoes. I'm just learning. Coming back to the East Coast, they say go in the basement, which I think.
So
is crazy.
yeah. Yeah, so when I lived in Franklin, Tennessee, we didn't have a basement in the house I lived in, but we just had moved there and we were renting for the year. So we got in tornado season, and that week there was major tornadoes. Now we didn't know anything about tornadoes really. We knew hurricanes. You get a warning and you get ready to go. With a tornado, there's zero warning. There's the only warning is tornadoes are popping up in the area, so you got to get do something. But they say once you hear the whistle, the blow, the horn, you need to get out of where you are and go into an area that is secure. And we did have a secure area in our place, but we didn't know to do that. So they said when you hear the horn during a tornado, that does not mean you may be having a tornado. That means that there's one outside your window at the moment.
Cover.
It's take cover. You have seconds. And we didn't know that. And my wife and I just lying in bed like, God, it's crazy outside, And it's like, we didn't know not to get up. Crazy. And then people tell me they were, running and going. I'm like, going away. And I'm just like watching this thing going, shit, this is like crazy. It's not as bad as a hurricane, but man. And then it's like, no, when you hear the horn blow, it's time to just get out of there. And I didn't know that. And the horn was blowing all night. Apparently there were tornadoes all over around my house.
I didn't know that until right this moment. So thank you. This is our PSA for the world.
Yeah.
You hear the tornado bell, horn, whatever, get the hell out of there.
That means there's one outside. If it's dark out, you can't see it, but it's there. It's outside. If you look out your window, if it was light, you can see it out your window. It's there. There's no warning. It's like the only warning is we're in tornado season right now. We're having a storm tonight. There's possibilities. If you hear the horn, get the fuck out of there.
Incredible.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
I didn't know that. So thanks for teaching me something.
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
And with that possibility here. Back on the East Coast. We're back on the East Coast.
We're back on the East Coast. We're in the same time zone again. Actually, Nashville Central Time. It's an hour behind.
Nashville Central.
Yeah. So right now it's 6. It's like 6:11 over there. But so it's interesting. Then we got into rolling with dice and wheels. First of all, before we get into rolling with dice and wheels, I want to talk about how not to bomb. So my concept for this show, and the reason why we're doing this show, is it's you're going to have comedy. There will be comedy on the show. Of course, I'm a comedian. I can't help that. Okay. But it's not going to be just comedy. We're going to have people on the show that are entrepreneurs, that have made millions of dollars and lost everything and came back. We're going to have the comeback stories, the people that reinvented themselves, who refused to lie down, the people who said, you know what, fuck this, I ain't retiring. What am I retiring for? I'm just going to sit on the couch all day. We're going to have people who reinvented themselves, who got back up and said, I'm going to get back out there again and do something with my life. And I'm not going to just sit here and bomb. And so bombing in comedy as a stand-up means, dying on stage. Basically, nobody's laughing at you. You're bombing. And when I started out in comedy in the early 80s, like any other comedian, you bomb. And I bombed. And then one day I just decided, and it was this pivot in my life. I made a decision that I'm not going to bomb anymore. And once I made that decision, I have never bombed again. And I think I made that decision in 1989. I said, I'm just never going to fucking bomb anymore. And I never did. I never bombed anymore. And everything I do, I will kill at it now. And then I've reinvented myself numerous times in life. So not just about bombing on stage, bombing in life and in business. People bomb in relationships. You don't have to do that. If you do the right thing in a relationship, it can be a very successful relationship. People bomb in business. You start businesses and you lose them. You start businesses and you lose them. And, I've been there. There's a lot of businesses that I started, okay, that you never heard about. And you always see the good ones that I've started and make, decent money with and do well and become successful as an entrepreneur. But you don't hear about the stories that when I bombed, and, I'm not going to post that, but it's happened numerous times because I'm an entrepreneur. I keep on reinventing myself a lot. And, I just think that once you learn to just focus on the success, you just don't bomb anymore. And I just refuse to do it. So that's what the show is really going to be about. It's going to be about how not to bomb in life, how not to bomb in business, how not to bomb in your workplace, in a relationship, on dates, whatever. It's people are going to be on this show. I'm going to interview all walks of life that are going to come on this show. People who have made it, lost everything, hit rock bottom, came back up swinging, and killed it in life, and was better than they did when they fucking before they succeeded again. Blew up. So that's what the show's about. We got some great guests.
I think that's really what interested me about coming out of podcast retirement was that whole premise because, I, like everybody else, have bombed. I went through a really tough time during COVID, and we could talk about that, later, whatever.
Well, give us a quick bit on how you bombed and how you came back.
The biggest thing is I went through a divorce, and during COVID, when the world seemed like it was ending as it was, all of a sudden my marriage is over at the same time. And I can't tell you how scary that was. And now I've got 2 children and I'm going through a divorce and this and that. And, it's tough. It's always going to be tough.
It is.
I was with her for damn near 20 years.
Right.
And I decided, you know what? I'm not going to bomb. I'm not going to sit and I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm going to dust myself off. I'm going to get my kids. Now that I'm a single father, I'm going to get my kids out of this town because it's not good for a single parent. And I did get my kids out of this town, and not because I don't love Vegas, because I truly do, but it's not good for children. It's very predatory, as we spoke about. I got full custody of my children, which you don't hear that very often.
No, very difficult.
I got ownership of my home, which you don't hear that happening
right.
for men. And I've relocated. I found myself a great job here on the East Coast. I'm doing really well. I'm killing it. And my kids are thriving. And I mean thriving. My daughter
That's fantastic.
In the ROTC, is in the military. She's a genius. She's
very nice.
She's in AP classes. My son loves guitar. He loves baseball. The world is their oyster. They're both teenagers now. They're going to be going out into the world very soon. And
that's great fathering, though. It all comes down to the household.
Well, thank you. I mean, all I can say is, with my children, I do the best I can.
It could have went a different way, though, Tony. It could have went a different way.
Yeah.
And it didn't. But it didn't.
Mhm.
You know, and because you decided it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to go a different way. You turned it around. You drove the car. You did exactly what you were supposed to do to make that work. And I do want to get involved, get into that again one day. We'll talk about that. You know, because the people that I want to have on this show, I have another guest coming on very soon. I think next week, Bill Branca is coming on. Bill Branca was one of the most powerful Hollywood agents when it came to comedy and stand-up comedy in L.A. You know, he walked into a room, you know, it was like Moses parting the Red Sea. Every comedian wanted to be with Bill Branca. He managed Chris Rock and he managed Lawrence and Tommy Davidson, and he was one of the reasons why Def Comedy Jam even became what it was. You know, so Bill Branca is coming on the show. He disappeared for 20 years, over 20 years in Hollywood, came back. I spoke to him on the phone. I said, "Will you do my show, Bill?" Him and I were very good friends in LA. We would talk all the time, and he just disappeared. I haven't seen him or talked to him in 20 years up until recently. But so Bill Branca is going to be on the show. And then I got
It's exciting.
Yeah, he's great.
I can't wait to hear his story. You know?
Yep, and then I got Freddie Rubino coming on the show. Fred Rubino, if you know Fred Rubino, people, he's an Italian-American comedian, tells it like it is. He's a patriot, and he's good old-fashioned Italian-American, man. He says it like it is, and he don't give a fuck what you think. He's coming on the show. So there will be comedy on the show, you know. And then I got another guest coming on, Larry Mazza. Have you heard of Larry Mazza?
I haven't, no.
So Larry Mazza was a mob guy, made guy back in the day with the Colombo family. He was with Gregory Scarpa back in New York, and he was a made guy, and he wrote a book called The Life. And I know Larry for many, many years, and we reached out. We talked the other day. We were in a parking lot talking on the phone, and he's living in an assumed different location. He reinvented himself all over again, got out of that life. You know, you never really leave the life, but he got out of it for the most part the way he could. And he's over 60 years old like me, and he's a personal trainer. He's a martial artist. He's a writer. He does podcasts. He does reality shows. He's in fantastic shape. He's very smart. This is Larry Mazza. Larry Mazza is going to come on the show. We're going to talk to him. So these are the guys. Then I have this other guy, Daniel LeBlanc. Have you heard of Daniel LeBlanc?
No.
Daniel LeBlanc. He was down and out about 5-6 years ago, struggling. He was in addiction to. We'll talk about what it was, and he was just a mess. And he got out of it. He got clean and sober. He opened up a company called White Olive. He went to school, he was a CPA during this whole craziness. Went through a bunch of trials and tribulations, hit rock bottom, and now 5 years later, he's killing it. He went from making, who knows what, to making $3-4 million a year now doing his business, and he just came back kicking ass, decided not to bomb. Right. These are the people that we want to have on the show. And I want, listen, if you're listening to the show, I want anyone who feels they want to be a part of the show, go to the parisegroup.com, theparisegroup.com, and you'll see podcasts on there. Fill out the information. We'll get your information, and we'll reach out to you. Tony will reach out to you. I'll reach out to you. We'll send you a release, and you can come on the show and give your story, because it's really about the story, man. It's not, I'm dropping the egos. I had fun with that as a stand-up many years, and I still perform, but I want to hear other people too. It's not always about the celebrity in the room. I'm sick of that shit. You know what I mean, Tony?
I agree. I mean, look, and even when we were doing I Do Things, if you remember, we would just interview, the bartender that worked at the casino that I worked at, because he had a very interesting story. Everybody has an interesting story.
Everybody has an interesting, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I think that, and you even have people, musicians. I was privileged to listen to your son perform the other night. We were playing around. I mean, what a talented artist. Hopefully he'll I'm not sure how you feel about putting him in public like that, but having him on doing some stuff, that's completely how you feel.
At the very least, I'll record him playing that will play on the show, and I'll speak to him. And look, my son, like I said earlier, the sky's the limit. I mean, he's got the look. In fact, a friend of mine used to watch Entourage, obviously, because Dice was on, but the show Entourage, and the main character was named Vincent. My son looks like a little Vincent.
Well, you remember how Dice would always talk about, Vincent's over there, and we got to talk about that. That's a great name. Vincent's a very classic name too.
And he looks like a young Vincent from Entourage. It's
That's
like
fantastic.
So the sky's the limit for him. And yeah, we'll
Good for him.
have him make a special appearance at some
Tonight I got somebody coming on the show, actually. I just sent him the invite. His name is Jerry Papandrea. He goes by the name Derry X. He's a big YouTuber with food. He's a big fan he was a big fan of our show, I Do Things, and also a big fan of Rolling with Dice and Wheels. So I just invited him. Hopefully he'll be coming on soon. He'll get the invite. If you got the invite, Jerry, you can come into the studio. We want to talk to you. So we'll talk about Rolling with Dice and Wheels when Jerry gets here, because that was such a great show, don't you think?
Oh my God! What a dream come true for a kid who listened to Dice Rules on VHS cassette when I was young and sneaking it so that my mom in the other room didn't hear the filth that was coming out of the TV.
Oh my God, I know.
And then to cut to. We're hanging out in some of the craziest places on the planet, having drinks, and then random people come on the show like Tom Green or whoever the hell else we have.
We've had so many people. That was the beauty about that show. Rolling with Dice and Wheels was cutting edge, man. It was like old fashioned radio. You sit around the radio and listen to this drama unfold. It was Rolling with Dice and Wheels was a special show because we would go places. There was a time we jumped the fence and opened. It was an abandoned house, and we're in the back barbecuing at these people's homes, and we're sitting in the back barbecuing. The house is like for sale, and we're just having a good time talking and bringing the equipment. Then we had in front of a gang infested neighborhood, running for our lives. I mean, there was some really touchy sirens in the back.
And we were like, should we get out of here? Are our lives in danger? Andrew's like, no, we're fine. We're good.
There he is. Hey, look who's there.
Hey, it's Jerry. What's up, Jerry?
Let me give you I'm going to give you a proper intro, Jerry. Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me, Jerry? All right. So I'm going to give him. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is right now, it's my pleasure to bring him on the show as a guest. I actually texted him last minute. I said, listen, because he's such a supporter, to the point where I'm like, he's just the fucking best. So I said, you got to come on the show because we're going to be talking about I Do Things. And I know I think he listened to that, and then Rolling with Dice and Wheels. And he's just a big supporter of everything that I've ever done in Dice and Tony. Whatever we've done, he knows about it for some reason. And he's a smart guy. And his name is Jerry Papandrea. Is that okay to say Jerry Papandrea?
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
But I can say also Derry X.
Yeah, you can call me whatever you want. You know what I mean?
But I call you Derry X. I like calling you Derry X.
Okay.
But I'm going to call you Jerry tonight.
It,
You can live. But so you have a YouTube channel. Jerry's got a huge YouTube channel. He's into the food world, and he does these great reviews of places he goes to, and then he also makes a lot of food at home, and will show how to start and finish the product. So tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel, Jerry, and then we're going to get into talking about some of our nostalgia.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, my name's Jerry Papandrea. I fell into food content creation. Kind of been doing it for 16 years between blogging and I migrated to YouTube around 2018. I started doing like lifestyle type stuff, and as it started to grow, people really started to resonate with the food stuff because I have a family background actually from Brooklyn, just like Wheels, same neighborhood, Bensonhurst.
Yeah, same area.
My father owned delis down there. So growing up, I worked with my dad, and, people seemed to love that. So that kind of became what my voice was on YouTube. So started creating recipes and then going to restaurants and giving my honest takes. I don't like to call it reviews, but I guess that's what it is. And then it's kind of ballooned out. I do these snack reviews and also just basically anything I could think of that's food adjacent, I kind of try to incorporate into something interesting for the channel.
Can we play, Tony? Are we able to play one of his little snippets on YouTube? If you just go to the YouTube channel, are you able to do that?
Yeah, I'd have to find it.
Jerry,
what is your YouTube channel?
If you go youtube.com/@DerryXDines.
Derry X.
So it's DERRYX Dines.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Stand by. I'll be right back.
All right. He's gonna go find some stuff for you, Jerry. I want to show him how you. So how you been, man?
I've been really good. I've been working hard. I work nights now. Adapting the content into that schedule has been a little bit of a challenge for the last year or so, but we're making it work.
You know, it's funny. I saw you do a thing today about a sandwich shop you went to.
Yep.
Was that the newest video I think I saw?
Yeah, I posted that one today. That I made that one about a week and a half ago, and it was essentially
Okay.
an Italian sub, just a place I like to go to in the area.
It's like the local go-to. But I got to say something, Jerry. I mean, you know, and I'm going to be honest with you because I'm into the food world too. I've owned restaurants and food trucks and stuff, and you know that. The place you went to today looked great, and I know you the other day, and I know you did a great job, you know, presenting it. But I mean, when it comes to a sandwich, you can't put that near like a sandwich from the Bronx or from Brooklyn, like at a Salem area.
You know, I was actually talking to a really good friend of mine today about this.
Salamoria.
The whole concept of salumeria nowadays is gone. In my area, there's one Italian restaurant. It's basically a deli, just like my dad's, except they're so heavily into social media and branding that it doesn't have that feel. And when you go to the store, they're you know, they make the Italian sub with the right meats and everything, but they lay them out. You know what I mean? You got to pile the meats on.
You got to scrunch it like this. You got to put it on so this way when you put the bread on, and you open it up like that. It's managigida morta.
Yeah, and
Exactly
biting
what I
through.
was thinking.
You don't want to bite. Yeah, you don't want to bite through a big, you know, a big hunk of salami like that. You need that air in the middle to kind of break it up. But yeah, it's tough. And you know, I was telling him, you know, my dad retired 10 years ago now for health reasons, and you know, ever since then, now you can get most of those ingredients at the grocery store, and you can make it yourself. So it's almost, you know, that business is really going the wayside.
And good bread has gone away. I mean, you know, good bread, just not, you know, you can still get some, you know, but not good. Were you able to find a clip, Tony, at all?
Yeah, I got something.
All right. What do we, first of all, he's going to explain what it is after this shift. So are you okay with us playing anything, Jerry? Okay.
I don't know which one it is, so I'm going to play a little bit. It looks like it's 11 minutes. I don't think we'll do the whole thing.
No, we'll do a few up front.
We'll do it, you know, just play a little something. So stand by. Here we go.
The intro is always nice. This is Derry X, everybody, on YouTube. Big supporter.
We're going to order from another place that is within a decent driving distance. We picked a place called Tipsy Moose Tap and Tavern that comes highly recommended from people on Instagram. And we're going to check that out. I'm going to hop on their website right now and check out their menu and see if I can figure out what I'm going to get. But I'm going to call it in. We're going to pick it up. We're about, I would say, 15 minutes away from them. So should be kind of interesting. All right. So we got the menu pulled up here.
This was pandemic era.
They have a deal.
Okay.
Actually, it says free bottle of wine with $50 purchase. So I'm going to see if I could actually take advantage of that. They have this this app thing that you can order from.
So this
Tony, if you could skip to the middle of that one.
Have
different stuff on there.
Because
so I dilly-dally in this one a lot. And actually place the order. We came up with, I'm going to go with cheeseburger, mac and cheese.
You want to skip ahead a little bit, Tony, on that?
Yeah, skip to about the middle of it. And you could see maybe a little more. And there you go. Now we got the food and we're going to get into it. Yeah, I like to have the music in there. And this is
I love it.
Free music, so you're going to be all right. You see my son there? That was him, what, 5-6 years ago. That's
great.
Crazy. You know, and this is when restaurants they had to adapt to takeout. So it's a pretty old one. Raspberry sauce. You don't have to play as much. Like you can cut it whenever you need to, Wheels.
Well, that was good though, man. I enjoy the way he does his like. See how he does, and you have a certain way in every video you do. It kind of has this formula.
You want to hear a funny story about that, Wheels?
Sure.
I know for a fact that the last time when you did Don't Eat All the Meatballs, I recorded that the same exact day.
Okay, that was another podcast I had. Don't Eat All the Meatballs. Tony wasn't involved in that one, but that was another great big show. We were in the top 10 at one point.
It's funny that one is what surfaced to be able to play that. You know, the stars aligned for that.
I think it's funny they did it during COVID. You know, one thing I will say about the food way things are done now after COVID. The deliveries now, you notice when you get delivery or you pick up, it's always in nice containers now. Everything is done properly because they had to do that for COVID. They had to like make it still give you the experience because you couldn't dine in. So a lot of restaurants adapted to going quality in their containers, and they kind of stayed with it. And that, that was, you could see they were just starting. Everything looked good, and you opened it up. It was almost like an unboxing of an iPhone, the way you did it. It's okay, we're going to get this and get that. It was really cool.
Yep. But you also notice since then that the quality of the meals and the diversity between restaurants has kind of declined, right?
I do agree. Yeah, I do agree. It's a different world now. Prices are different. Quality is different. People are too much to curb service now. I'm not a big fan of Grubhub and like Uber Eats, and I'm not a big fan of all that stuff. I'm not a big fan of DoorDash. I don't like it. Yeah, I do it once in a while, but I don't like it.
When it's a necessity, you're going to pay extra. You're going to wait longer. The food's going to be cold.
Absolutely.
I'm a guy, if I want something, I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to go get it. Now, a lot of people do the DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that stuff. Some people make a living with it. It's just not for me. I'd much rather have the experience of getting in the car and going and getting what I want and bringing it home, or maybe eating it there, or, and not having to give. I don't even know what the customary tip is for an Uber driver.
And then you got to worry if you don't give the right tip,
They'll spit in your food.
Yeah, exactly. What I don't like about like DoorDash and stuff is like, as a restaurant owner, I never had them, I never used them, I never will. If I'm going to deliver food, either my restaurant is going to deliver the food, old school, or we're just not going to do it, and I'll take the cut, because I don't believe in having another person in charge of my quality. So if I own a pizzeria and you order a couple of chicken parm subs, right? I know that it's going out with one of my college kids that are going to deliver it to you, and I know what kind of thing he's putting it in. I know what I supplied him with. I know how I'm doing it, and I know how it's going to get to you. And he don't have 30 stops in front of you. With Uber Eats or any DoorDash, it comes to you. Sometimes it's cold. They miss stuff. It's not done properly. And who do you blame? You don't blame the driver. You blame the restaurant. You have to blame the restaurant. So now the restaurant is controlled by this. So your reputation. And I think I'm totally against it when it comes to that. Owning a restaurant, I would never do it.
Right. I know you owned restaurants for a long time. In fact, I have another clip from the Roland show where you were talking about being a chef. So
let's go there.
Later on,
Yeah. Well, let's get into that. So let's talk about Rolling with Dice and Wheels. So that was a big show. Rolling with Dice and Wheels. We actually hit number 1. Did you know, Jerry, that we were actually before Rogan? We were number 1 before Rogan hit number 1.
Yeah,
we were actually number 1.
Talking about it on the show.
Yeah, and you do see he's another freak with the show. He's like all of us, and we did. So it was a great show. It was cutting edge. It was drama. It was like an old fashioned radio show. You just sat around and listened to the drama unfold. Remember, the Cowboys, and you hear the and you're listening to it, and like in the early days, and it was kind of like the first podcast, like old radio show where you listen to the drama. What was your favorite thing about the show, Jerry? Because it was an amazing culture. The culture, everybody who likes the show and loves the show is kind of like all the same.
Yeah, there's so much I love about the show, but so I still have all the episodes, and we talked a couple weeks ago, Mike, and
you have all the episodes.
I do. I have them all.
Yeah,
cool. Okay.
And Tony does too. It's amazing.
Yeah, I do. I didn't know that anybody else owned them. So
yep.
Cool.
I had an old iPod that had them on them that I was able to pull the files from, and
that's great.
I have them up on my YouTube Music, that I could privately listen to. But that's my holiday listening. So between Thanksgiving and New Year's, we listened to it. And in the beginning episodes, I don't know if you remember this, but there was I think it's a gag that you guys were going to have a guest on, Peppy Burnett.
Peppy Burnett, that's right. Oh God!
and you guys talked about it the entire time. I think it went like 3-4 episodes, and he never.
Peppy Burnett,
and you can hear Dice pissed off about this guy, and it was so good.
You guys never got him out of the truck. You introduced him the whole episode, but he never actually came out.
Well, he didn't want to be seen. He was always doing stupid shit,
Yeah, he was old too, right?
He was very old.
Then I don't know if Peppy's still with us, but I mean that's been 14 years, so he's got to be 105.
He's got to be about 105 now, Peppy. That's
he's
great.
He's be a guest on How Not to Bomb.
Yeah, we're gonna have him on How, because he reinvented himself.
He's coming on after me, right?
Yes, he's got to have a come. Yeah, we're gonna have Peppy Burnett on the show one night.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do an audio of Pepe. We'll call him and see if he's around.
That's amazing.
But it was a great
Another,
show.
I love that you remember
another
that guy.
another thing I loved about the show is, toward the end, I don't know if it was because you guys weren't in the same area, but it kind of migrated into just phone calls between you guys.
I have all the phone calls still.
You can tell that, like, at that point you guys were just riffing and kind of just doing whatever, and
Right.
I love that between you and Dice. That's really one of my favorite things, is that
There's a dynamic energy between the two of us. Yeah. It's because it's insanity. Like there were episodes, if you remember, where Dice would go, and we'll be back, and we never left.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
There was one where Dice went off on something, and you go to him, what the fuck are you doing? and he just bursts out in laughter for like a minute straight.
Well, that's really him though when he does that. That's really he can't control himself sometimes.
That's so funny.
He makes himself laugh. That's what he does.
I've been laugh, and then other people laugh a lot. Like if he can make himself laugh,
you can't help it. Yeah,
yep,
it's true.
So
yeah, he's a unique.
Should we play a clip?
Yeah, let's play a clip. Which one do we have?
It's just him talking, you and him talking.
Okay, all right, cool. This is a Rolling with Dice and Wheels. Here's a clip for you. Let's see if you know. I'm going to see. I don't even know the episode where Tony's playing. Tony always surprises.
Cut off that circulation. It may result.
Technical difficulty.
It's all right. Rolling with Dice and Wheels. It was a lot of psychology behind that show, Very psychological. We still have people to this day, Jerry, that listen to it. That still love it. They always, when you guys coming back? Like, we'll be back. You just never know.
You got to have Dice on How Not to Bomb at some point.
Well, he'll be on the show, 100%.
It's you. To go out and spend thousands of dollars with the the agenda of like, I'll do this for 2-3 months. He's gonna do what I tell him to do, and somehow you talk me into it, but it's good for me.
It's the smartest thing we ever. It's amazing.
You know what I mean? It's not like we don't know each other. It's not like I'm teaming up with a stranger. I mean, you've been half my life with me already.
We hang out more off the podcast. I don't want people to think this is all we're always hanging out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Wheels, Wheels, when did you start? No, number one, I always call him Wheels, but it is Michael Wheels Parise. When did you start doing comedy?
87 in Pips, Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. I met you in 1989, end of 89, beginning of 1990, right before the Garden.
Is that when you met me?
February. Actually, it was 1990. February 1990, right before the Garden. And I was at Pips.
Pips in Brooklyn.
And you walked in.
Probably, Pips is not there anymore, but Pips was what people call, for people listening, like the original comedy club in America.
Opened up in 1962.
Is that when it opened?
Yes.
Why? You see, Tony, that's why he is, to me, one of the most genius people I've ever met in my life. That I wouldn't know. If somebody said to me, I'll give you $10 million, tell me when Pips open, I wouldn't have any clue to that. But yet a guy like Wheels is so hands-on with everything he does and just has this incredible knowledge of the world. That's why he's like my life coach, and I come to him with all my, like other people go to psychologists, psychiatrists, they go on all these pills to, so they could just get through a day.
Yeah, useless shit.
And I'll call Wheels up with, these questions, and he takes the time. I mean, you could have really been like one of the top doctors in the entire world.
I took a different route, but I enjoy it.
Took a different route.
I like doing what I do, but I don't do it with everybody. You just have to gel with that person that you can actually talk to.
Yeah,
I can't talk to anybody.
People don't understand. Wheels, is number one. Yes, you have Gordon Ramsay on TV, guys like that.
Right.
But Wheels, he keeps it low key, but probably one of the top 10 greatest chefs in the history of America and the world.
History of America.
20 in Los Angeles.
And that's true. That is true.
The Cannoli Kings was like number one.
Number one catering company now.
And now you have another catering company.
I'm starting a company called Taste This LA. And
Tony, the truth, just to come up with a name like Taste This. You know, see, even though he's living on the West Coast, he still gives it that East Coast flavor.
That's right.
You know, and he go, taste this.
Yeah, because you could say like taste. Oh
You
yeah,
know.
taste this.
Yeah.
That's great. That brought back a lot of memories. You know, I mean, and it's funny is that the conversations that Andrew and I have now are pretty much the same. Nothing's really changed. Like he'll call me up any given night, whenever, and it's always late, of course, because he don't sleep. And it's the same conversation. It's always like, how did you know? It's like nothing. Our energy meets each other always the same way. That's what was great about that show.
That's why you gelled as soon as you met, and that's how you worked together. What, 40 years, right?
Yeah, since 1990. There's a lot of interesting. Like, why do you think the show worked for that time? Do you think the show would work now?
If
I
you're asking
do.
me, I think yes. Go ahead.
Absolutely, and especially since I don't like. Yeah, I'm sure you know. Like you follow Dice on social media, Instagram. He's evolved into a new thing too. You know what I mean? You know, he's not the Andrew Dice Clay that from the '80s, the vulgar, whatever.
Right.
He's
Sure.
on the street. He's talking to people. He's running into Steve Guttenberg, and they're going back and forth.
Sure.
That was funny. I watched that one.
It's a different Dice. But it's still, Dice is Dice. You know what I mean? It would definitely work now.
I think, and what's interesting? It's anything Dice does, it's original. You have to say, like and he's always the first to do it. Like what he's doing with these YouTube, what he's doing with the Instagram videos. It's not just doing a video to create he's creating the content, but it's really just a story. It's like an episode that keeps on playing, a movie that doesn't end. And he'll rehash old, the Maldonado brothers will come out all of a sudden, that he hadn't talked about them for 15, 20 years. And then all of a sudden he'll talk to somebody and say, Vincent wants his money, in Penn Station, whatever. He never changes the story. It just keeps on going.
We did get in some trouble with Vincent back on Roland. That you remember you had to deal with it.
I had to deal with Vincent a few times. Yeah. I had to fly to New York. I had to talk for him. We had to sit down.
Episode where you had to go away and he sent you out there, and it was
And then Dice had to handle it in the end.
He did, and it was all kiboshed, and everything was fine. Well, we did get in some trouble with Vincent, so
yes, we squashed it.
Yeah, I know, I remember.
Maybe one day we should play a little some on Vincent. Maybe every couple of episodes we'll play another thing. That's interesting that you have every episode too, Jerry. I think that's great. I want you to send me some.
I was under the impression that I was one of the only people on the planet that actually still had all this stuff. I didn't realize.
I came across it when I was cleaning out an old computer. Like I had my iPod, and I had, how you had iTunes synced up, and then it stopped working after a while. But I had that, and I figured out a way to actually get the files over. It was a pain in the butt to actually match up the files with metadata, like from the podcast apps and stuff. But I did get it. I got them in order, and I could listen to them, as a whole thing. So I can drop them to you at any time. It's really not.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. We'll do a share file.
I know what he's saying, and he's a super fan. To actually do all of that crap.
And that is why not only do I like him and I feel that we're friends, I did want to bring him on for that reason, knowing we were going to talk about Rolling with Dice and Wheels. If anybody knows the show just as much as we do, honestly, probably just as much as we do, would be Jerry Papandrea.
That's awesome.
And he's one of those. And there's a few of them out there like that are huge fans that still some guys on Facebook, but I don't think that anybody. And plus, I think for some reason you understand the personality, Jerry. I think you understand the psyche of him. I've noticed because I noticed when you will reply you'll make a comment on one of his reels, you'll reflect back to like 10 years ago somehow, like you didn't stop the story.
More.
Yeah. You keep it going.
I try to, so Dice has actually replied to some of my comments in the past, like, and with like deep cut type references that I think he doesn't even remember.
Right.
So I try to come up with something like that, because you look in the comment section and a lot of the people are newer people on social media who don't know, right? They have no idea. They don't remember Dice Rules. They don't remember the Ford Fairlane. I watch that movie every year.
Exactly.
And so like I can come back because the other day he was buying the hat, right? So
Right.
there was a line from Dice Rules where he's selling the suits, right? Or was it Dice Rules? It was maybe the different special where he's
Dice Rules with the suits.
He's in haberdashery, right?
Haberdashery, right?
And he the guy's the woman's taking forever, and he's like, it's fucking exquisite. Cash or charge. So I commented that. It's like nobody's gonna remember that except me.
Nobody's gonna remember it. And I noticed that you do that on his posts. Like I'll read them, like I go through and just to see what people say about certain things. And I'll see you pop up and I look, he just knew exactly what to say at the right time, Jerry. He just knew exactly, and it's a reference that I get, and you just get it, and I think his real fans of the show Rolling with Dice and Wheels get that. They to hear the word Peppy Burnett, I haven't heard that word since we stopped the show. It's a shame that we stopped the show. I really loved doing the show. I think that we would have had legs if we would have kept it going. The way podcasts have blown up now. I mean, look at the way they're going now. It's crazy. And I told people back then, I'm like, podcasts are the thing people are going to be into. And I'm like, you watch. And look, here we are again, but we still do them, I'm still doing them. I always say, how not to bomb. And I only talk about, the good stuff. You don't hear about the bombs I've had. Like I've had podcasts, and I think Jerry would know. I'm always coming out with a new show, but it never airs. I've done like shows like, This Is the Way I See It, and different shows, and it never airs. Those are called bombs. I just didn't feel it was going to work. And, for me to really to do a show and attach myself at my age now, and to, it's a lot of work to do it. And to be on, I said, I'm not going to bomb. And when I'm ready to do it, I'm going to do it. So I know if I put this show out, this will not bomb. This will be another one of those shows that will just evolve into something, because I'm going to create that magic somehow through the show. And we're doing it already tonight just by bringing somebody on. First of all, we have the original producer, executive producer, and we have one of the biggest fans of the show. And we were able to, we're still doing things. We're still talking about it. We're still doing things.
Mike, I think by the fact that you're able to determine, you have the ideas, right? And for you to understand, okay, this is what I'm going to need to make this idea work. You put it out there and you kind of get your feelers out, and to have that intuition to know when to pull it back and say, you know what, I don't have what I need to do this right now, and
right,
move on to the next thing. That I think is what has helped you to evolve through, these different phases.
I think, and that's why I'm blessed and fortunate of the successes I had in the business, is because there are a lot of things. I'm a visionary, and I'll come up with something. Like when I started Cannoli Kings, I had a vision, and I put the vision to work. But I started Taste This that wasn't very popular. I started a couple of different catering companies that it just didn't pop, and I didn't go with it because I didn't see it. If I don't see it, I'm not going to waste my time with it. I have to see it. So with How Not to Bomb, I see it. Yeah.
When you talk about Cannoli Kings, I remember back when you were doing that. I remember seeing your menus, and you were doing the different flavored cannoli, right? Which nobody was doing at the time.
Nobody.
You go into any bakery now.
Correct.
Peanut butter, chocolate. I even saw St. Joseph pastry with pistachio and stuff on it. Like that's not St. Joseph pastry, right?
But no, it's a Sphinx.
You not even pistachio like that. Like that's
no, that's not. No, that's it. Well, everything is Dubai now. Everything's got to have Dubai shit.
That's what I mean. But that those ideas, like that concept of taking a cannoli and making it into, Fruit Loop and whatever other flavors that you had back then.
Yeah. And
turning it into a catering company, that was a, what was that, 20 years ago? That was a pretty visionary.
That was in 2000. We started that in 2004. I mean, yeah. And that right there is, I had an idea. I'm going to come up with all these cannolis, and I'm going to do mail order, and I came up with actually 365 varieties of cannolis, and I had 1980s drinks, cocktails, infused cannolis, and I had the Woo Woo, the Mind Eraser, the Cosmo. I had all the 80s style drinks, and we would serve the cannolis, and it just turned into something because that was my vision. And I always feel that I see ahead of it, and I tell that to my daughter. I said, always look past it. Look past the idea and envision it past. So I say, when you see the idea, look past that idea. What do you see over there? And if you see something, then possibly that's a good idea. If you don't see anything and just the idea, then you're not really seeing through it. And then maybe it's not going to work. So I always look past the idea and envision what it can turn into. And that's really what I've always done. I appreciate you recognizing that with the Cannoli Kings. And that was another error we'll talk about one day. But yeah, it's just so have you ever had any bombs, Jay? Like, have you ever had anything where you reinvented yourself and came back? Now I know you're a chef, you're a skilled chef as well. You and I have talked.
I've had a lot of things that I would consider, failures, but give you the opportunity to pivot, right? So like even talking about content, what you played earlier, my videos now are not like that at all. Um, that was me kind of learning the ropes and trying to figure out, how do I make these videos, knowing the core things that need to be there, because music is important. People don't want to watch a video of I mean. The concept of a fat guy going and getting food and liking it, there's very little intrigue in that, right? So you got to have something, you got to have a hook, some stuff to keep it interesting, keep people watching and coming back, right? So that was pandemic, and that was kind of the me learning how to make the videos, kind of adapted into doing live streams. I had you on a couple times when I was doing that, and that worked for what it was, and got me to learn things about, like, set design and lighting, and like you see here with my fancy stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, I love it.
And all of it kind of evolved into just what I'm doing now. And even now I've pivoted all the way back to I'm a man in the kitchen. I got the Meta glasses, and I'm going to record what I'm making. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Wheels, you gave me an idea I'm going to run with, in terms of I'm getting in late, and I gotta make food, and hopefully I don't wake the family up. And hey, if I wake the family up, then the video will be fun. So
yeah, it'll be fun. Exactly. But see, like there was a time that you and I spoke a while back that you were even saying, you put it on the back burner. You didn't want to do it. You undecided. Then you came back. But it seems like the last time you came back to it, it seems like you're really into it now. I mean, you built your subscribers on YouTube to like past like 10,000. What do you have?
It'll be 10,000 probably by June, July.
I mean, you built it, and I remember you telling me this is what you're going to do, and you did it because you told me you were going to do it. And I remember asking you, and you said, "I'm going to do it this time. I'm, and I'm really going to get into it." And I said, "Just do it, man." And you did it. You're just doing it.
And that's one of the things. You coached me in that moment. That probably was, I think, when we talked on your "Don't Eat All the Meatballs" podcast, and I had around 300, 400 subscribers, which I think is right around where your channel's sitting right now. And it's been hard since then, but I put my head down. I know what I have to do. I've had my bombs going along the way.
Sure.
But those have kind of made me learn how and when to pivot.
That's fantastic. Well, that was cool, man. And even say, like, Tony, he decided he was going to go a route and make a decision to move across the country with his family and do his thing. And then, but what's funny, interesting about Tony, again, you stayed in the industry that you do and love. You didn't say, I'm going to leave Vegas, which is the mecca of entertainment, where you could work anywhere. You went to an area, which is why you went there, but you left there, went to Washington and a suburb of Washington, and you did it over there. So it goes to show you your talent. You learned so much in Vegas that you were able to now implement it and be like where you work, and we won't say where, you're like the shit, so
I got a big job. Let's just say that. I'll leave it there. I've got a big job, and I'm killing it, man. I'm really killing it. I'm doing well. We've got a lot of big things going on, and I'm very proud to say I'm killing it.
Very cool. Well, it's been a really cool. We've done 1 hour and 7 minutes already. So let's kind of get out where we have to. I want to try to
say something to Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry, love the shirt, man.
Thanks.
For life.
For life. Yeah.
For life.
That's another thing, one of the things that I like to weave into my videos is just like little things, like up here I have a display. These are all black suit Spider-Man from the 1980s.
Well, you're
right?
A black suit guy.
Yep.
I'm a black suit Spider-Man guy. Wheels, you could probably just pause for a minute because you're not going to follow anything we're going
to. He's like you with that. I'm not. I'd be honest. I don't follow any of that shit. But I mean, I get it.
But
I have copies of Secret Wars #8 and Amazing Spider-Man 261.
Yep. And I see.
Is that right? Yeah.
I see your Pulp Fiction poster. That's my favorite movie. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites, 100%. Yeah.
But I got to ask you this, Jerry: are you a Star Trek guy too?
So I have all the Star Trek.
Star Wars. I'm sorry, Star Wars.
So Star Wars. The older I get, the more I don't relate with it. When I was a kid, I liked it a lot more than I do now. I really like nowadays, Tony. I know because I'm talking to Tony because I know Wheels. You're not.
Yes, I have no interest. Yeah, but, zero interest at this point.
The prequel trilogy, specifically Episode 1, I think is slowly becoming my favorite, even though it's the least liked.
Really?
I think that in
Really?
terms of just the maturity of it, like once you get past Jar Jar Binks, it's got the deepest
Right.
message, and I think it was probably one of the best produced films.
I've gone back and I remember watching it on the day it came out, 1999, I believe, right? Waiting in the movie line at the movie theater, and thinking, God, I want to like it. God, I want to like it, and walking out and going, I just didn't like it, but I was young, you know. And I've gone back and I've revisited it now as an older gentleman, and you're right, I like it a lot more. Love Qui-Gon Jinn. Um, I'm very excited, as you probably are, with the Darth Maul series about to hit Disney Plus, or maybe it's already out. I haven't had a chance to, but that was really good. I wish we got more of Darth Maul, and I'm glad we are about to get more of Darth Maul. That's really exciting. Wheels is taking a nap over here. He has no
Yeah,
idea
it's
what's
not.
going on.
No, I appreciate everything in art. I appreciate it, but I just I fell asleep in Star Wars when I was the original Star Wars back in I fell asleep. It doesn't
The
science
original
fiction
Star
doesn't do
Wars,
it.
Wheels. That's the original Star Wars is really more of an art film. I think it's become a science fiction movie over the transformation of the effects. But if you watch the original Star Wars, it was a pretty snoozy movie. I can't even sit through that movie anymore.
This doesn't do it for me. I never got into the whole like I was telling Tony the other night with superheroes. The only ones I liked was Superman growing up. I kind of liked Batman a little bit, but Superman was kind of I enjoyed the old Superman. And I enjoyed like the first three.
Adam West Batman of the 60s.
I did like Adam West Batman. I did like that, but I never got it. And
It was funny and
yeah,
it was different. It was fun.
and then Michael Keaton. I enjoyed the Michael Keaton Batman.
Fantastic.
So I will say, and I think the Clooney Batman was pretty good. But then after that, I just never. I don't remember. I don't remember who the rest.
What's his name? Christian Bale. The Christian Bale trilogy.
I didn't see that
was
one.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, it's very dark. The Heath Ledger Joker. I don't know your opinion, Jerry, but I mean, just so good. I mean, so good.
I just got those movies in 4K, and I just rewatched them actually just a couple weeks ago. You honestly don't even realize you're watching a superhero movie at times when you watch that. It's really
I can see that. Yeah,
that trilogy I think is probably the best superhero movies that they've made.
but I will say on one thing, like when Nicholson played the Joker, right?
So good.
Okay, he was great because I feel, and then Heath Ledger was great, and I did see Heath Ledger parts of Heath Ledger's. But what I will say is, I feel that Nicholson was better. Reason being is because I feel he brought animation to the character as a Joker because of him, and because he's a Joker, he's that guy, and I can see him when I'm looking at him. I'm still seeing Nicholson. And I think it's a certain element. It's kind of like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory original, and then Willy Wonka, Johnny Depp. The original is much better because when you look at them, you're like, these are so real. It's them. That was their role. And I think anybody who copies a role, it's not like the original.
I mean, if we can talk 1 second about reboots and the fact that you're taking movies, in my opinion, that are absolutely perfect and rebooting it because you can't write an original story. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. Stop making reboots of, I mean, one for instance, and we don't have to go too deep into this. RoboCop, the original, was one of my, of course, one of my favorite films, if you will, a perfect film. And then they reboot it, and it's like, why? It's not good. I can't get behind it.
Let me tie it into the theme of the podcast. It's because the studios, the big media, has gotten to the point where they know how not to bomb, and they've engineered everything to the point
when they're ready to make money, they can make money.
Yep, they're not going to take chances on those things anymore. Movies like The Big Lebowski, the things that we were getting in the late 90s that were like, you can tell that they got some money to do something. They played around. They made something that really wasn't right down the middle. And the weirdness is what made those things cool. We barely get stuff like that anymore because of this vertical integration where they're just afraid to bomb.
Right. Well, I think it goes to show you, even with regular movies like Rocky, for instance, that franchise. I mean, Rocky, you can see how many Rockies. And you know what? If Rocky came out tomorrow with a Rocky 35, I'd still watch Rocky.
Yep. And you know
because
why that is?
I want to see where they're going to go with it.
But they're continuing the story. What if they came out with a reboot and a new Sylvester Stallone?
I don't know how that would work. It wouldn't work.
Because here's what it is. Going back to what you were saying about the Joker, there's a difference when you watch those movies in the 80s with the actors that were iconic, right? We don't have iconic actors like that anymore. And even when we do, they're in parts that are they're not the parts that they should be doing. There's that screen presence where that you went to the theater to see that, right? Now you're going to the theater to see the franchise. So it's almost a different value proposition. So like Ledger as a Joker, he had to give like a really stellar performance to stand out in that movie, to be iconic in the project, right? Whereas the Joker, Jack Nicholson, iconic actor, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Shining, you knew he was going to be crazy. And you saw him on the screen, and that's what you were there for,
Yeah.
Correct. And I remember having this conversation. Me and Andrew had this conversation one night about what makes box office. There's a difference as a star, a movie star. You have your movie star, and then you have your box office star. And he explained to me the difference. He said box office is Al Pacino. When Al Pacino's in a movie, you go to see Al Pacino. John Travolta, box office. Arnold Schwarzenegger, box office. Sylvester Stallone, box office. Robert De Niro, not box office. Robert De Niro has to have other supporting actors around him to go see the movie. But you don't go to see the movie because it's starring Robert De Niro. More than likely, you'll go, but you don't go because it's box office. It's not going to be that moneymaker like a Sylvester Stallone or a John Travolta movie. They're just box office type people. Yeah. So interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Dude,
Hey,
I enjoyed talking to you, Jerry. I love.
Yeah, he's great.
Fellow nerd.
Same here, Tony.
Very cool.
I don't want to be on your entire show, Mike. So I'm gonna.
Well, we're done. We're gonna say goodbye. I want you to at least say goodbye with us. I want to get your information. Anybody listening to the show, because I know I don't have a lot of listeners for this particular episode yet, but the rebroadcast is where it'll be. Like when it hits Spotify and hits all the other ones, is where I get my following. This one, what we're gonna go, but it'll be the rebroadcast. So tell people where to find you, Jerry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on social media pretty much anywhere. At DerryX is the where to find me. DerryX. I'm on YouTube at DerryX Dines. Or you can look up Jerry Papandrea. It'll be in the show notes or on the screen right now. And I'm happy to connect with anybody. I really love. I love that organic connection. I actually made a video this morning because I woke up and I did not want to do any of the stuff I was going to do for YouTube production today. So I went on a little rant. So for me, being on social media and doing this stuff, and Mike, when we connected probably about 10, 11 years ago, that organic connection and you recognizing that I was beyond the typical fan, and
100%.
Knowing that we have similar backgrounds and grew up in the same place really, and Calabrese and all that. So it's that to me is what's special about social media, and we need more of that.
And you're a Mets fan. Is that a Mets hat?
I'm not really a baseball fan, but it's part of my branding. I like to wear the New York hat so that
the New York hat
know that I'm from New York.
I like the Mets. I like the Yankees too, but yeah, it was always nice. I always get a kick out of watching you, Jerry. I follow you around and kind of see what you do, and I always say, man, he's got. And we had some conversations recently on the phone, and is it okay to tell him what you do for a living? Just to kind of tell Tony. He's a scientist, like a real scientist.
I mean, kind of. So yeah, I majored in chemistry and went to graduate school for chemistry. I worked in pharmaceutical manufacturing and on the analytical side. Now I'm on the quality assurance side. So I work for a big pharma company.
There you go. He's a smart guy.
Vastly different. So I have the YouTuber of me, I have the professional of me, and then I have the family me.
DerryX Dines is your outlet.
Yep, my creative outlet. Yeah.
Your creative outlet, but yet your creative outlet is actually doing really well, and you're going to start earning a creative income from it if you keep it up. So,
it makes me enough to keep it going. So
yeah, good stuff. All right, man. So listen, that was great. We're going to fade out of here. You're going to play some music on the way out. I don't know what kind of music Tony's going to play, but it was great to have you on the show, Jerry.
I'm going to play a little piece from my friend Scott. Scotty Too Hot. He's probably listening. This
all right,
for you, Scott.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. Don't forget, tune in next time when we'll be live again on YouTube, and you'll be able to hear everything on Spotify as well. And this will be a rebroadcast episode. And I appreciate you. How Not to Bomb. I'm Michael Wheels Parise. You guys don't bomb. Do your thing. I want to hear about it. Talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody.